So back in 1911, I don't know if anybody's heard of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. This was the largest industrial accident in United States history. Hundreds of workers, largely Jewish and Italian immigrant young women, were killed when a factory caught on fire. There were no escapes. People literally could not leave the building. Oh, sorry. Just a little closer.
Right, just closer.
Okay. And they all died. This inspired waves of labor protests. This inspired waves of amazing activism, largely on the part of young people, on the part of workers, on the part of immigrants, on the part of members of marginalized communities. Now, for the American Jewish community, that was 104 years ago, and we face a very different paradigm. American Jews, by and large, no longer face those sort of harrowing conditions. Many of us, most of us, have moved into the middle classes. We're now seen as white. We didn't used to be. In Boston, instead of living in places like Dorchester and Roxbury, we now live in places like Brookline, Newton, Sharon. That history where corporate greed can literally kill us, is a little less relevant these days. But it's still there. And if it's not there for us personally, we have to remember the people who it's still there for. So I'm from Brookline, and when I was a junior in high school, I went on what's called a toxic tour with Alternatives for Community and the Environment. A fantastic local environmental justice group based out of Dudley Square in Roxbury. And they showed us how they can measure the pollution in the air, and that levels of toxic chemicals and levels of emissions were 3 times higher in Roxbury than they were in Brookline, which was 2 miles away. I did not know that's how air worked. I did not know that was how science worked. I did not know that was possible. But that was true. I saw it. I saw the measurements right there. That's what emissions mean. And we here at Harvard, we're in a position of privilege. We might not have those emissions hanging over our heads, quite literally. We may not have those toxins here. We may think that we're immune. We may think of things like the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, like all of the labor problems that are happening today at companies owned by this university, and think that they're somebody else's problem. But they're not. They're caused by us. They are caused here. We are implicit in those wider structures, and that is why it is all the more important for we who are in this position of privilege, who are in this position of power, to call upon our institutions to divest, not to profit off the backs of the less fortunate, not to profit off those who don't have other options, and to be a force for justice here in Boston and around the world. Thank you.